This game is rated E10 for ages 10 and up. For more information, please go to esrb.org. Hello everyone, Kirby here, but you can call me KV, and welcome back to Let's Play Kirby Air Riders. On the last episode, we started doing more checklist items in air ride mode, and so we got this corner is all good. That's great. I'm not sure I'm gonna do that. So we're gonna work on getting more of these today, but also I finally compiled all the notes I wanted to do about the interviews that they posted on the Nintendo website about Kirby Air Riders. So I'm gonna try to read those and see how well that goes. While we're playing, I think the easiest way to do that would be time attack 10 kinds of machines. Easy peasy lemon squeezy, hopefully. We'll just do Floria Fields. And I'm gonna pick... Gooey. When in doubt, Gooey. And we'll go with... something... I mean, it had to be different machines anyway, so... I mean, the Dragoon counts. The Hydra counts. We'll use the Hydra. Okay, so then from here, I'm gonna start getting at my notes. And we'll just play it by ear from there. So, whilst I am doing this, the 3 laps and whatnot, there were actually 2 different interviews that were posted for the Nintendo website and also on the Nintendo Today app. And one of them was specifically about the music of Kirby Air Riders, and the other was more of kind of a general, Sakurai kind of discussing everything that, that it had to do with the game. And the Hydra is very fast. So in the very first interview, there was actually, this one of the 2 parts, and it was an interview with the composers along with Sakurai. We had Shogo Sakai as one of the composers, who you probably know from the previous Kirby Air Ride game, and also he would go on to do music for Mother 3, as well as a lot of other projects like Smash Bros. And whatnot. The other composer was Noriyuki Iwadare, which isn't a name I'm as familiar with, but as it turns out, Iwadare-san did music for the Ace Attorney series, so I was like, oh, okay. And those are the 2 composers that Sakurai reached out to, at least for this project. So, they, both Sakai and Iwadare did, list, they said which tracks they particularly worked on, so every new course in Air Riders has a, lead composer. And so Sakai worked on some, Sakai worked on, Floria Fields, Wayflow Waters, I think Mount Amber Falls? I'll double check that. Yeah, okay. Nova. And, Iwadare did... Yeah, and Iwadare, I consider, I'm sure they split the load evenly, but Iwadare I kind of consider, the more main composer, because they did the main theme of the game, Starlit Journey, which is used in Skya, and then is used in Road Trip, and all that stuff. But Iwadare did some courses as well, and they did Siberian Highway, Steam Gust Forge, and Airtopia Ruins. I think Sakai did Cavernous Corners. I do not recall. And I don't remember if he did Crystalline Fissure. I didn't write that down. Sorry. So, Sakai and Sakurai both worked at HAL before going freelance. I mean, we know that about Sakurai for sure. But with Sakai, same thing basically. Sakai worked for HAL for quite a bit, and then went freelance as a composer. And they both met during Melee's development, and they've been on a lot of games since then. So, again, Sakai did music for for Smash Bros. And the original Kirby Air Ride. And then if you know, like, the Kirby lore, or not Kirby, like, just Kirby information, Kirby fun facts. There we go. That's probably the better one. Kirby fun facts is that Shogo Sakai was the main composer on Kirby's Kirby Mass Attack. And what's interesting about that is in Mass Attack, there's at least 3 songs from Air Ride that got repurposed into DS music for stages in Mass Attack, which I think is really cute. So we have that connection there. This is gonna be hard to it's really hard to like drive and also read at the same time what my notes say. Sorry. Oh yeah, and Iwadare met Sakurai because Iwadare helped on Kid Icarus Uprising. They did the Space Pirate theme, as well as Hades' theme from Kid Icarus Uprising, which are fantastic tracks, so, like, no slouch there either. And, of course, like, if they did Ace Attorney music, like, Ace Attorney music is really dang good, so that's kind of, like, that's really cool. And Sakai actually didn't start working at HAL Laboratories until 1995, because, like, this part of the interview was, like, it was basically asking, like, well, wait, how do you know these people? Why did you choose these people specifically, Sakurai-san? Like, that kind of thing. So, Sakai didn't start working at HAL until 1995. So, Sakurai had been there for a little bit already, because he started working there in 1989. And he gave an invitation to Sakurai at the time, like this is again the mid-90s, to an orchestral music, like a game music concert, you know, these orchestral music and all that. And this kind of influenced Sakurai's desire to want to have more orchestral music in the games that he made, which is why Melee has such a huge orchestral focus. Like, Melee had this whole, like, concert that they did called Smashing Live, and if you were subscribed to Nintendo Power at the time, you'd actually get a recording of that CD of the live concert, which is really cool. And Iwadare-san, like, well, he didn't start working with Sakurai until Kid Icarus Uprising, as far as I know. He knew of Sakurai because of Smash, and also because of the original Kirby Air Ride, because apparently he and his family loved playing it, which I was just like, that's super cute. And then eventually, okay, no, Iwadare-san did do some music for Brawl as well, so it was basically like, that's when they officially met, but like a lot of like the more, it's interesting, like, when you think about it, because a lot of the music for like the Smash games is like, well, these are just remixes of well-known songs for the most part. But when you like cut your teeth more on some of the other stuff that they've done, it's like, oh yeah, like the stuff for Kid Icarus Uprising is, like, at least to me, a little more impressive. I don't know. But yeah, so that's how they started doing that. And yeah, he was excited to get to go and compose for Brawl. So then, apparently, at one point, Iwadare and Sakurai went to an orchestra concert for the Ace Attorney. Oh, yeah, after wrapping up on Kid Icarus Uprising, and that's actually, like, that is the part of the interview where you learn that Iwadare did music for Ace Attorney. So, if this was wrap-up for Uprising, this would have been before any of the 3DS titles. Or at the very least, work was probably being done on Dual Destinies at the time, since Uprising came out in 2012. Oh, that's fine. So it's kind of interesting. So then, like, when you see like Ace Attorney, it's like, oh yeah, like the classic stuff, or at least like stuff from like Apollo Justice and stuff. It would be, it's like that's really cool. So like that to me, that's just kind of a neat little thing. Since, well, I've never played any of the Ace Attorney games, I'm very aware of them, and I've done a lot of voice work for them through different friends on their streams and channels and stuff. So I do enjoy the series. Sakai and Iwadare were chosen by Sakurai specifically for their ability to write their own sheet music, lengthy work with orchestras, and ability to conduct. Which I think, if you recall, at the Kirby 30th anniversary concert, I think for the encore track they did, Sakai actually conducted that one. I don't recall specifically. Future me, you can correct me, or you don't have to. It's your choice. And again, Sakurai really loves that orchestra feel for the music, so that's why he wanted those two specifically. But both Iwadare and Sakai had no idea what game they were working on when they were approached to do it, which I think is really funny. Okay, well, they didn't know per se, but Sakai basically had an inkling, wait, if you want me, it must be a Kirby game or something of that caliber. Now, oh yeah, Sakai even was just like, wait, you want me specifically? Where was I a lead composer for you? Oh, that's right, Air Ride. You must be doing an Air Riders. You must be doing an Air Ride sequel. Really funny. Iwadare was not as aware, obviously, because he was just like, sure, whatever, you know? I want to get to work with Sakurai, he's cool. So yeah, but he, again, as I mentioned earlier, Iwadare and his family had played the first game a lot, so they were like, oh, he was like, oh, it's gonna be so cool. So when the trailer dropped for Air Riders in the Nintendo Direct of April 2025, the only song that played during that was a quick little snippet of the main theme, and basically Iwadare just had to keep his mouth shut from his family, and was just agreeing to himself like, yep, I made that. I made that song. Oh, all right. I took a lot of notes, so I'm sorry. This is kind of all over the place, but I just think it's really funny and interesting. But Iwadare actually had a Kirby keychain on his bag, but he just always has that because he likes Kirby. So I'm just like, that's so cute. Ace Attorney composer really likes Kirby, and it's like, yay. But during the production of Air Riders, he took it off just in case anyone was going to get suspicious that he was working on a Kirby game, which I think is really funny, because I'm just like, wait, if you took it off, wouldn't that be more suspicious? Anywho's. Alright, so that was... So, this is... There was two separate articles posted, but they were split into two parts on each, so I'm getting to the second part of the first article now. Because now they're going to talk more about, because basically the first part was, how'd you meet, why do you think you were chosen, blah, 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 why did Sakurai choose you, and now we're going to get into, the actual composition. So Sakurai had, a bunch of different samples for what he wanted the songs of the courses to sound like. And so he sent them to the composers, obviously, hey, make something that's kind of close to this. And then from there, they would create something that had more commonality between all the different themes. However, this didn't always turn out as they wanted because, and I'm going to actually go to this course now because it's really funny, wave, flow, waters. So if you remember from the Kirby Air Riders Direct, I forget which one, I think it was the first one, they mentioned, or Sakurai mentioned, how he wanted this to not be, your typical tropical sounding, coastal theme. And Sakai basically chose tracks to compose for that were, similar to what he had done in the first Kirby Air Ride, which is why he did Floria Fields, Wave Flow Waters, Cavernous Corners, Nova, that Mount Amber Falls, because most of these all have some kind of equivalence with the first game. But Sakai had all the samples that Sakurai gave him, and then it was like, oh, a water course, I got this. So, like, direct quote from Sakurai, he's like, I know I said, please don't make it Latin or tropical sounding, but what did I receive? Latin sounding music. So Sakai just made... So it's really funny then, because if you think about it, like, we have Way Forward Waters, the actual song, as we know it in the game now. Let's see. It's a good way to get this done. So we have the actual song as it is, you know, it's kind of like rock, hardcore thing. Like this. But the secret song, which is the arrangement of Float Islands, is more of what Sakai initially delivered to Sakurai for the music for this course, which is not what Sakurai wanted at all, which I think is really funny. So that's probably why Sakurai went to great lengths in the direct to talk about how he's like, no, I didn't want that kind of music, I want this. Sakai was just like, oh, maybe I should have listened to the samples you gave me. So there was originally only going to be 8 courses, the main ones we see in the final game, basically. I think we actually have 9, if we count Nova. I'll need to double check that. Yeah, and so yeah, Sakai asked which ones he wanted to do, because so Sakai basically like, what I want to do these ones. Iwadare was just like, I'll take the ones he's not doing, which was fine. Yeah, and Kevin's Corner is the one that he did. And as I said, they're a similar tone to what was done previously in the first Air Ride game. I want to get the Cabinet's Corners because like there's a thing with it. So actually, we're just gonna no, not retrying. Exit. That is so weird that does that. But so if we go to Cavernous Corners, we'll just bring the paper store with us this time. There's a flute in the song of Cavernous Corners that is kind of like very weird, but it's on purpose because it did 3 different takes and basically asked the flutist to go like, hey, can you just kind of improvise something here? And so we'll hear it near the end of the song, which I think is really, really neat, because again, this is another course that Sakai composed for. Take the let's take the cool path. Woo! I was hoping I would get through this entire episode and do all of my notes I have on just the composition stuff, but I have 4 pages of notes and I am only about like halfway through page 2. I'm looking at my notes again. It's like I gotta bullet point these. That was my bad. I wasn't quite sure what I was gonna do with these, so my apologies again. Anything goes. Let's play. Yay! Right here, the flute. So this flute right here, they did 3 different takes of kind of like trying to get this really. Listen to it for a bit. Yeah, so they did 3 takes of that. So they wanted to basically not sound polished at all, because you know you're going through a cave that's like mining and stuff. So it's like this is like a gem that has not been fully excavated and polished to its purest form. So I think was a really cool touch on that. And of course, yeah, they basically, like, in the composition, it sounds like Sakai basically just went, yeah, improvise something, and we'll see what you do, and then we'll use the most, like, unpolished sounding take as the final one, which is kind of a very interesting way to compose, for sure. And oh, yeah, and I mentioned in my notes, like, specifically, if you know Xenoblade 3, they made specific flutes for that game to get the exact sound that they wanted, and it sounds like they kind of did a similar thing here, where while the flutist was able to kind of improvise a little bit, they also made a flute that was basically handmade of like, hey, this is what we want the sound to actually be like, which is very similar to what they did for Xenoblade 3 with the flutes there. So that's always cool. And next we actually move on to Airtopia Ruins, so I'll go to that course in just a bit. Because Sakurai actually like had like kind of a backstory for it already built in as to what he wanted the music to sound like. Because apparently in Airtopia Ruins is supposed to be like this this like ruined sky kingdom of a greedy king that eventually was abandoned. And that's why the final song is more kind of like empty and kind of it's meant to evoke kind of like this emptiness feeling of it, but to me it's kind of adventurous in a way. But yeah, that's what he wanted Iwadare-san to kind of do with it. Tank Star. So it's not, is it like, because basically, like, the thought of, like, oh, you're in a sky stage. Like, a sky stage usually kind of has this kind of whimsy to it, but it was like, no, this is a tragic place. It's not happy. But at least for me, the feeling it gives off is more kind of an adventurous spirit, which I think is nice. And it is a really cool, fun piece of music that Iwadare composed. And also got, you know, all the talented people in the orchestra to come and play, because I remember from later part in the interview, they did 2 major recording sessions. One that was right before the direct happened, and I think one that was slightly after. I think one was in March and one was in August of the year the game came out, which is, like, crazy, but once you have everything finalized, that's kind of like the last thing that you need to do, basically. And where did Airtopia Ruins earlier? I forgot about that already. That's fine. But what's interesting is that they were able to keep every single member of, like, as best as possible, I'm not sure every single member, but they were able to keep most of the same orchestra members intact, which meant that they would always get the same playing style, regardless of which session it was. The one in March or the one in August. So that allowed them to have a very consistent sound, which the composers were very appreciative of, and a lot of the people who worked on the orchestra had a ton of fun playing, so they were just like, oh, I want to come back and do this. Heck yeah! Which is really cool. So, we'll, next time I do a road trip, which I know I'll be doing one more to get the challenges, I definitely want to, like, focus on, like, all the different orchestra players, because they did a fantastic job. Not to say that, like, any of the other rules are now for, like, programmers and stuff and graphics design, like, oh, that's super important. But music is the thing that usually is my ranking criteria for a video game is always gameplay, music, story, graphics. So if you don't if the game has to be fun. If it's not fun, why bother? Blah blah blah. Reggie Fils-Aimé. But also, it's got to have good music. If it doesn't have good music, I'm not going to be interested to play. The story can then come and go if it needs to have a story or not. It depends. And as long as it looks decent, like, I'm not going to care if it's not the most high-definition graphics ever do exist. And so, originally, the courses were planned to be a lot shorter, actually. But as they were planning them, and as the music was starting to come in, they started to get a bit longer. And also because the stage, like, there's the new speed mechanics and everything compared to the previous game, so then it was kind of like, oh, oh, we gotta have this. We gotta have these songs longer, and they were already kind of composer longer songs, so that's why a lot of the songs, like, they like, you wanted the main melody to finish within a lap or two, and so that kind of dictated how long some of the courses became. because it was like, well, the song's really good. I don't want to cut anything from it, essentially. And I was like, well, you'd have to if you want to make the courses shorter. So that's what they did. They just went, nope, the courses will not be shorter. We'll just have longer courses to fit the music, which is very telling then when you go back to like Fantasy Meadows from the first game, where it's just like, oh, well, that was over in a minute. Since, you know, it's on the new engine of being super fast and everything like that. Apparently, during the Siberian, like, highway theme, like, it's like one of the times where Sakurai had to kind of cave a little bit, because like, Iwadare originally wanted there to be someone chanting Air Rider in the background, and Sakurai's like, no, we're not doing that. Why would this song have lyrics? None of the other songs have lyrics except the main theme. We're not putting more lyrics in this. And Iwadare's like, dang. But yeah. Oh no, sorry. He didn't cave. It was more like, yeah, if we have someone going, because his, like, Sakurai had like an idea for all of how the courses are. So in Siberian Highway, it's like, it's this mysterious space that's kind of like a little threatening, but kind of interesting too. And it's like, well, if there's some kind of person chanting Air Rider, then that means there's like some kind of DJ around here. And it's like, why are they there? How did they get there? I don't know. That's weird. We shouldn't do that. And I'm kind of like, I think it would have been fine. And something that was really interesting is that Sakai commented on how Sakurai basically could kind of like give them like extremely precise, like, hey, this part, change this to this, and it was like, oh, wow, like Sakurai's not a composer, but like they know exactly what they need from the song, and it worked out very well. Yeah, so this has been a very weird episode of me trying to go through the notes, but we'll see. I'm gonna get to the end of this course and see what else I have written down, because I'm not done with page 2 yet. Yeah, I think a lot of it did come out really well, and the interviews you can go read on the Nintendo website. They should still be up there. I'll probably have a link to them in the description, so you can go read them at your own leisure, rather than just listening to my weird my weird commentary on them while I try to read and drive, which is something you should not do. Oh, but so, right, it was because they would send something and Sakurai would give them concise and direct feedback almost instantaneously, which would be really funny because Sakai, he likes to compose from like 2 a.m. to 6 a.m., so he's just like, okay, here you go, I'm gonna go to bed, and Sakurai would just be like, hey, it's 6:30 a.m., here's my notes, and it's like, what? How'd you get back to me so fast? I put in like a little note of like, we gotta pay developers more. I'm sure they got paid decently for this particular project, but like, still, we need to pay them more. Oh no, this is 8 courses. No, this is 9. I can count. I can count. What's also interesting is that both Iwadare and Sakai were on the same mailing list, so because of that, basically, if one of them got feedback, the other would see it, so then they would both know, like, oh, I should avoid doing this, or oh, I should try doing this. That kind of thing, which I thought was really... That's kind of interesting, like, just be like, hey, both of you are the composers, just be on the same mailing list, please. That way, like, if someone has a problem, they'll know about it, or someone did something well. It's like, that's funny. What's really funny, though, is Sakai would listen to Iwadare's songs and be like, oh, okay, I see what they're doing. But Iwadare is just like, no, I'm professional. I can't listen to my coworkers' compositions, otherwise I'll be too influenced by them. So Iwadare didn't hear Sakai's music until the final recording, which I thought was also very funny. What I think was really interesting is that the most feedback Sakai got was on the Nova track, which is interesting because it's two existing Kirby songs rolled into one, the Nova theme from Superstar along with Marx's theme, which also initially originates from Superstar. But, like, I think Sakurai was just worried, like, oh, if we don't, like, we can't change it too much because people will, like, be upset about it, but also we have to change it a little bit or else it's not going to sound interesting. And then Sakai commented on how it was basically two songs in one, because he was like, well, why don't we just have it be the Nova theme? Why are we putting the Marx theme in here too? And Sakurai was, like, very insistent that they do both. So that's why there's that section in the Nova map where you go for a little bit and then it kind of transitions, and that was built into the piece essentially, so that way there'd always be a clear point for it to transition during a race, well as in the song, depending on how well or bad you were doing, which I think that's pretty cool. And then the main theme I thought was very interesting, because Iwadare came up with 3 different iterations of the main theme. However, Sakurai approved them extremely quickly as far as what he wanted, but it became more work for Iwadare because the main theme, he composed 2 different ones. He composed a more like pop song version, another version that we don't know what it sounds like because it's not in the final game, but then the free version that we hear in the true credits. Oh my gosh, this video's been going on for 30 minutes. I am so sorry. That to myself and to all of you, because yeah. But the actual, like, main theme had a, like, more kind of like pop song feel, which is the opening song that we hear in the game. So if I just go to it, but that's not where I go. Oh, I don't have the pop song version of it right now. I'm smart. But then, if... Oh, where is it? It is... Where do I... There it is, menu. So this free version was also another version that Iwadare composed because he thought the pop version was too uplifting, and then Sakurai was just like, hey, I like both the pop version and this version. Put both in the game. So it ended up being more work for Iwadare because then you had to do the main Skya theme, which is based on the pop version, and then also this iteration, which is based on the more triumphant version. So it was like, oh, so Iwadare kind of was like, oh yeah, this is really cool, and because they kind of went above and beyond, they had a little more work to do, which, unfortunate, but it sounds like they had a great time, and I really like how it turned out too. So it all works out. And there's the ballad version. They initially thought about using Vocaloid for this, but they decided against it. They use a singer and put a little filter over them. And what's also very interesting is that, at least in the Japanese version, the singer for the pop version that we hear in the intro before you get to the title screen is a different singer than the one that was used for the credits theme. So I thought that was kind of interesting. And both of them were singing at like a different range. That was kind of hard for them. But I think they both nailed it out of the park. And the name of those 2 singers... Did I write those down? I don't think I did. Shoot. Well, you can go... Oh, okay, I was wrong. Recording sessions were in February and May of 2025. So I was right that one was before the Direct and one was after the Direct, just wrong in when they happened. And with the credits theme, with the vocals, Sakurai actually like blurred out one point, according to Iwadare or Sakai, I forget which one. This may be the best ending ever made for a game, which I thought was kind of interesting and very endearing. So you can tell that they put a lot into this. That was definitely their all for what they wanted to do. And it really shows, and you can really hear it, and it's just like, yeah. It's really good. But, yeah. Oh, right, and the singers also said that when they were recording, Sakurai sent into some of their sessions, you're like, oh, it's Kirby! He's actually here! And Sakurai's just like, I'm not Kirby. Don't call me that, baka. I mean, he didn't say that part. He didn't say that part. That part, but he was just like, I'm not Kirby, though, and then laughed. But yeah, so that was the music. I know that was very unhinged and a bit not well put together for what I was trying to do here, but I wrote a lot of notes, and I just it is incredible how much detail that Sakurai wanted to go into for the music itself. Because I know, like, there's another part in the interview where he talks about how he would get, like, the high-quality samples from the composers, and then, like, he would, like, listen back to, like, the orchestra recording and be like, I'm going to listen to this purposely on cheap headphones and speakers, because I want to make sure that the sound is still coming through, and so we don't have to worry about everyone having to have the high-end stuff to truly understand it, so it can truly come through and resonate with everyone else. Just like, dang. That is dedication to your work. That is crazy. Speaking of crazy, this video's gone on for way too long than I initially thought it was going to be, so sorry. There's so much more stuff that I did not get to. Like, Iwadare's favorite track that they composed for this is the one we're listening to right now, the Alt Skya track. I forget what Sakai said was their favorite track. I think Floria Fields, I think, was theirs, because it was the first one they finished, and it was... He was the most, like, composed that one. He was most concerned with Sakurai liking the track, essentially, basically, and it was just kind of like, Iwadare even says, like, something else to try out is that Floria Fields' music sounds the best listening it to through the Switch 2 speakers, which is like a crazy thing to say, like, holy cow. But yeah, they had a lot of good times making the music, it sounds like, even if it was stressful at points. So I'm just like, I love music, and I'm glad that this particular interview, or this roundtable discussion, essentially, it was done. Go read it. Don't listen to just everything that I've said and poorly paraphrased and done a bunch of uhs, and, you know, whatnot. Because, yeah, no, the music in this game is fantastic, and I agree with everything they said. So, what I also agree with is that if you like this video, you should like, comment, subscribe. You don't have to, you don't want to. But if you want to play the game for yourself, it's available on Nintendo Switch 2, Kirby Air Raiders that is. You should go play it. You should go and unlock all this amazing music, listen to all the great stuff that these composers have done with the direction of the Sakurai. And most importantly, have a wonderfully great day.